All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Monday, April 6th Glendale Water and Power Commission. Let's start with the roll call, please.
Item number 1, roll call. Commissioner Armenian,
Present.
Commissioner Fay,
Here.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Here.
and President Avidian.
Here.
Commissioner Avenisian is not here today. Item number 2, consent items, including minutes. 2A, approval of February 2nd, 2026 meeting minutes.
Any comments from fellow commissioners? I only have one correction on item number 7. Katie, there's an I in there. It's spelled C-A-I-D-I. Other than that, I'm good.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as modified.
Second.
All right, perfect. Minutes approved. Let's move on to the next item, please.
Item number 3, Glendale Water and Power and staff comments.
Mr. Mellon, do you have any comments before we get started?
No, I really don't. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer them, but I'm ready to rock and roll.
Great. Commissioners, any comments, questions? All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Let's move on to item number 4.
Item number 4, oral communication, 5 minutes. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Commission may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The general manager may refer the matter to appropriate staff for investigation and report. We do have a speaker on item number 4, Marie Mill. Yes.
Ms. Moll, welcome.
Good evening. Can you all hear me? I've never done this before. I just wanted to bring to the attention of a disaster that is going on through North Glendale on Fernbrook and Neodrara. It's a water problem, and there's approximately 10 residents along there, and including my sister that lives on the corner of Neodrara and Fernbrook. I'm her sister, so I'm speaking on behalf of these 10 residences. They all had this problem. Several years ago, 10 plus, all of these people had streams going through their property. Well, then the Glendale shut it down. And the stream dried up. Water table went down and everything, and that's the way it's been for the years and years. Now, all of a sudden, water is coming back. And they have called, the residences have called Water and Power. They said it's not our problem. Well, somebody is responsible for this because it is seeping at 2 gallons per minute. My sister has 2 pumps going, and they are pumping 8,500 gallons per hour of good water, which is going down the drain. But nobody's concerned. So if you can stop it, why can't you, I mean, at any time like you have in the past, why can't you do it now? And why won't anybody help us? Every time they've called, they've sent somebody from the Department of Water and Power out. They said, it's not our problem. Has to be somebody's problem. And we feel that at least give us the right direction. Who can figure out where is the water coming from? Because it's very, anybody can drive down and you see on Fernbrook 2 hoses like this gushing water out, and it's going in the drain. If we have a drought, people are going to want to say, you're wasting water, not us. So we are asking for your help, some kind of investigation on to stop this water. It's the gentleman across the street of Fernbrook and Neodrara. His whole yard is like a big sponge. It's soaked. My sister's, she's already, a bridge has rotted in her yard because of the water. It's probably, what, almost 3 months that it's been going on now. So when we heard about, we can speak at meetings, we decided that somebody must have an idea how we can help this, stop it, because it's going to ruin the shrubbery, it's going to rot the trees, going to rot anything that's in its way if it's not stopped. So that is our dilemma. We would appreciate any kind of help or investigation, somebody.
Thank you.
And most of the people work, so that's why I'm trying to help.
Sure. I believe I'm familiar with this scenario. Mr. Obogolu is also familiar. He's the head of the water. As I understand it, quite a few years back, there was a natural spring and a kind of a creek that ran through the back.
That's right.
Yeah. And then there was some work done that was up in the hills, and it kind of changed the flow pattern. And of course, the water dried up.
Yes.
And I think the resolution at that time, it may have been a legal action that came to terms, and it was the utility agreed to install piping there, and that actually had water flow through there to bring the creek bed back, but it was potable water. It was actual water that was flowing. So after a little while, the droughts became a big issue. So they eventually realized that doesn't make a lot of sense that under drought you flow potable water, so it got shut off. Now, I don't have a good sense of the timing on all this, so I'm just going to kind of, as I understand the story and what happened up there. Now, it seems that the spring that dried up or was possibly changed its pattern, it is now flowing again, possibly. I think
It's back.
so. There's a natural spring resource there where that water is coming from. So I don't know that there's anything the utility can do. I know that we've taken a look. Chisholm, do you want to come up and you can explain kind of what you've seen up there with the water group? Mr. Obogolu is the AGM of water, so he can come up and have it.
I'll go sit down.
No, you can stay there.
I can. Well, good evening, commissioners. As mentioned by Mr. Mellon, we did test the water, and it was devoid of chlorine residual, which indicates that that is natural spring water. And as mentioned, through the years, the pattern, the flow of the water has changed. Some residences are actually channeling or damming the water to be able to provide natural lakes, natural springs. That's actually supporting animals, turtles, and things like that. So that has changed the flow pattern of that natural spring, but it is natural spring. And to that extent, there is very little that the city can do to be able to try to manage that. We do anticipate that as things continue to heat up, around July timeframe, that spring will dry up again. And also, I do want to point out that we actually had an operating plant, the Vertigo plant, which has been decommissioned for almost 2 decades now. And the reason why we are now recommissioning that plant is because we have very low production from that waterground basin. And so if we were to reinvest millions of dollars to recommission that plant, it will go dry very quickly within a matter of months. And so it was not feasible for us to undertake that effort.
Well, thanks for responding. It sounds like you gentlemen have some familiarity with this situation. Has anyone made a referral to Public Works? Is there anyone in that part of the city family that might be able to help if this is a matter of controlling natural water flow rather than, utility delivered water?
Yeah, sure. It wouldn't necessarily be Public Works, but rather LA County, and that is certainly something that we can reach out to the county to see if that is something that they can do, or try to abate that flow to the extent possible.
That would be great. I think situations like this are usually more complicated than they look on the surface, but at the very least, we can make sure that the residents get a good answer and are connected to all the right resources. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. And Chisholm, will you be able to follow up and share the right contacts? Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have any other public comments cards, or this is the only one? Perfect. All right, let's move on to item number 5. I think we have a number of presentations, starting with electric reliability report.
So as Commission may recall, the last time we met, there's a couple questions that you had about reliability indices and in general how well we're doing, and we're coming back to present the information now.
Mr. Barkhodarian, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair Avidian, Commissioners. My name is Officer Barkhodarian, Electrical Engineering Manager. Today here for our presentation regarding electrical reliability report. It's not functioning, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, so IEEE developed indices for the power industries to track their reliability, and these indices are mainly known as SAIFI, SAIDI, and KD. SAIFI is System Average Interruption Frequency Index. Basically, this is the average, how often any customer experienced an outage. SAIDI is System Average Interruption Duration Index, which is the average duration for the customers that experience outage. And KD is the Customer Average Interruption Duration Index, which is basically the average time that is needed to restore power for the customers. So before we jump into the numbers and present our numbers to you, we'd like to revisit January 7 and 8 wind event from last year. If you recall, Glendale experienced high wind conditions, 60+ mile per hour. At the peak of the outages, we experienced 33,000 plus customers out of power. That translated to 51 feeder circuit outages all over the city. We ended up replacing 35 poles and removed 90 large trees and hundreds of branches from the power lines. And our GLRP line and dispatch crews were working 24/7 to help with this restoration. These are some pictures from that day, that event. Upper left corner, a picture taken from the roof of our parking structure. Picture to the bottom left is a riser pole that fell into Verdugo Wash. The middle two pictures are our transmission line and distribution line, Allen Avenue. And upper right corner, we have broken cross arm. And lower right corner, we have the cut wire to a customer. So for restoration, we used mutual aid from our neighboring utilities. Actually, not so neighbor, but we brought in Anaheim Public Utilities and Riverside. And for this particular line on the Allen Avenue, we also issued an emergency PO to bring our 4 to 12 kV contractor with their specialized equipment to restore these power lines. And then we also work with the Railroad Authority because this line was passing over the railroad tracks. So we also work with them to allow us to set up our trucks there to work on these lines. Now, in these indices, we have some exclusions, and these are mainly defined as customer-based interruptions. These are, let's say, if a customer had some outage at their facility that causes us to trip our feeder, that type of outages are excluded. External utility interruptions, these are also excluded. These are the, let's say, our tie lines with Burbank and LA. If for whatever reason they dropped us from connectivity, we don't count those in our reliability numbers. A major event is defined as an event that impacts 10% of the customers. The case that we just looked at, wind event, was about 34% of our customers. We had 34% impacted. 5-minute or less outages are excluded as well. These are usually the outages that momentary outages that are reclosers, field reclosers clear in 10 seconds. So we don't count these into our numbers. And pre-planned interruptions as well, they are excluded. These are the outages that our field crew kind of plan ahead. Let's say we want to convert 4 kV to 12 kV, we have to give an outage for the feeder so that our field crews can climb the poles and then switch the transformers to 12 kV operation. So for that, we have to give outage to the customers. So those numbers are excluded as well. Now, these are our SAFE numbers from 2020 up to 2025. Usually we have this tendency of also kind of comparing ourselves with other utilities. We have Anaheim, Burbank, Pasadena, LA, and ourselves. We didn't have LA's number for this year. They didn't have their numbers ready. So if you look at the last 2025 data, you see LA's number are not there. If we proceed, our SAIDI numbers are also shown here. If you want to know exactly how much was SAFE number, it's 0.96 was our SAFE number. Our SAIDI number was 112 minutes. And our KD number is at 121 minutes. So our, basically Glendale is represented by blue bar here. So this is a pie chart for the causes of outage from year 2020 to 2024. There's a typo there, 2021 to 2025. This is from 2020 to 2024, and then we singled out 2025 outages in the table to the right. And as you can see here, the trend of balloons are still there. We have lots of outages because of the balloons. And then the animals, squirrels are the next big portion there. We have some equipment failures, a big chunk as well. We have some crew requested outages. These are the outages that, at the request of our crew, we drop the feeder so that they can help the customer to take care of their issues at their end. And then we summarize our 2025 outages, the reasons for those on the table shown there as well. So our reliability strategies, that's kind of the projects that we do to help with our reliability. We have tree trimming program. We have basically contracted out. We have 2 crews of line clearance for forestry group helping us with this process. We cut the branches that are close to the high voltage lines. The next project, 4 kV to 12 kV conversion. This is annual project. We target our 4 kV feeders this helps with the 12 kV overhead portions mainly, because at 12 kV we have to separate our energized line from each other. That helps with the fact that because of wind, there will be no contact between closed wires. Plus, if there is a palm frond or any tree branches falling on these lines, they are far away from each other and less likely that this can cause a short and an outage. We do have a pole replacement program as well, which we target 50 to 100 poles per year. These are our annual budget for this project is about 1 million. I didn't tell the budget for the other ones. 4 to 12 kV conversion budget is 7 million per year. Tree trimming is 2.5 million. For next fiscal year, we increased this budget to 3 million. Cable replacement project, we actively look at cables with old cables that we have in the system based on the database that we have, and then we actively replace those cables. And then we also have auto feed reclosers that these are helping with sectionalize the feeder. And if a outage or fault happens downstream from these reclosers are the ones that react first and doesn't allow the feeder to trip from the feeder and drops all the customers on the feeder. And I think that was the presentation at this moment. If there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bakhurdarian. Any questions?
I have a few questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. Does it seem illogical to you the way these exclusions are, that there are all these exclusions?
To me, it doesn't seem logical, but IEEE
It doesn't seem
developed
logical.
Correct.
This is just one of these utility things that is illogical to everybody, but we all do it, so we compare each other's illogic. It strikes me that, do we track the real numbers? I mean, do we track all of the outages?
We can produce the real numbers, including all these major
So I would
events.
think, more and more, I'm in the solar business, so more and more of our customers are looking at putting in batteries for resilience, and more industries are looking at resilience as we have more and more climate events. So for planning for resilience, we would want to know the real numbers, right? Not just, so, I mean, I was shocked when I looked at this report. I brought this up last year too, so I'm kind of a broken record on this whole thing. I think it was Mr. Scorza who presented it, and he and I have always sparred on these things. Because I've been in the utility sector too, and so when I see something that's just illogical, continually illogical, but it seemed, I looked at your chart, I'm glad you clarified the date range on it, but it doesn't reflect at all the January 7th and 8th
Yes,
outages,
those
which
are,
if you're interested in, fortifying your facility or your home for resilience, you'd certainly want to know those numbers. So, but you said that you do track the numbers.
yes, we can track the number. We are using OMS, outage management system, and we can define which outages can be included in the report. So
Yeah.
we can redo the report and include those numbers in there.
I mean, I know that you don't include them because you're comparing with these other utilities.
that's
And so you all want to sort of look at the same playing field, but I just think it would be interesting to track the reality as opposed to just this industry convention that you and I both agree is sort of illogical. But anyway, those are my comments.
It might be, if you don't mind to have a comment on your comment.
Oh, I'm happy to have a comment on my comment.
IEEE usually focuses on performance. What they're looking to see is how we are responding to those situations. And when you have a large-scale events,
Yeah.
that's kind of all thrown out the door, right? Everyone's just kind of scrambling to figure out how to resolve those big things, big events. So the key here is to make sure that, one, right, we do have a baseline to compare to others against, and two, that we are tracking individually how we're performing year to year, and then how we perform by comparison to others. Are we improving?
Right.
In the baseline model, are we taking steps to get our durations down, reducing the amount of outages overall? Right. So if we have a huge weather event, we don't necessarily want to include that in the outage because there's nothing we could have done for a force majeure situation.
Can I make a comment on your comment to my comment?
Absolutely.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is titled the Electric Reliability Report.
Right.
And this doesn't include a lot of the times that the system is not reliable. And so if the objective is just to compare amongst utilities, I get it. Mm-hmm. But if the objective is to provide the community and potentially businesses that want to move into the community, or homeowners that are thinking about investing, as I mentioned, in solar and storage and battery systems so that they can have resilience, they would like to know what the real numbers are. So I'd be interested to see what the real numbers are. This makes it look like balloons are our biggest problem. And in 2025, that's not the case at all. We had a huge weather-related event. So
Commissioner Flanagan, we had a major, semi-major event in 2025. I don't know if you recall the Christmas Eve event. That has been included here. That impacted 8% of our customers. So that was one reason our numbers are a little bit high this year.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as big as a windstorm, but at least
Yeah.
it was close enough.
So I get the rules. It's if it affects more than 10% of the customers, it's excluded.
Correct.
Which seems completely illogical to me, just completely twisted. It would seem like if it affects more than 10%, it should be put in bold and underlined, this is what happened in that year. Okay, enough said, from me, anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Armenian?
I have a few different questions. On your last slide, cable replacement, you didn't share the stats like you did with the others in terms of how much cable replacement and budget?
Budget is $1 million for cable replacement as well. We target 30-year-old cables. Usually we target the cables that have been run near their rating. So cables are usually good for many, many years. If you don't run them near their rating, you can still use them for a long time. So let me see what status we have for underground. I don't have the status of how many we changed last year, but I have the total underground mileage of underground cables, 256 miles underground cable. I don't have the number of how many.
That's the total?
That's the total, yes, underground cables we have. It's half and half.
Is this specifically referring to underground only?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're looking at replacement, are you replacing it? Are you upgrading while we're replacing?
Yes, we
or is
are.
it like for like?
No, we're upgrading to 12 kV to be prepared for our 4 to 12 kV conversion.
Okay.
If conduit allows, obviously. If
Right.
conduit size is enough, we can do that.
Right. Okay. Going to your pie chart, balloons is self-explanatory. Unknown, it's a pretty big percentage. Is there any sort of breakdown or trends that you're seeing there?
No, these are the ones that our trouble man patrols the line and doesn't find any clear kind of impediment. No palm fronds, no animals, nothing. So they report it as unknown.
Okay. And could that be related to squirrels? Or
Could
when
be.
you say squirrels, are you actually finding evidence of squirrels?
We find, usually if the squirrels, we find evidence.
Okay, and what are we doing about squirrels? I'm just curious because we have squirrel problems in La Cañada too, so.
I'm not sure we're doing anything specific for the animals, but
Do you install anything like critter guards or things like that that help?
not that
Keep
I
them
know
out?
of. Yeah, we can plan to do that. Think about
I think there
solutions.
are critter guards, actually. I spoke to the line crew, and they do some level of it. Unfortunately, we still rely heavily on natural selection to solve our problem. But
Okay.
there's a lot of squirrels.
Well, I mean, just given, I know, but given the percentage of attributable to that directly with evidence, might be good to consider actual proactive steps like critter guards and other potential solutions other than just hoping it doesn't happen again. And then equipment failure is a pretty big chunk at almost 14%. Do you have a sense of, are there specific types of equipment or is it full range?
Different types. This can be a switch inside the vault, SF6 switch that losing SF6 gas. We have to replace that. It could be a T connection, could be a pot head, could be substation equipment. It's different.
Are the failures based primarily due to age?
I would
Or
say
the
we
environmental
can contribute to
circumstance?
age. Yes,
Age?
most of the failures.
So given that, is there an ability to kind of be more proactive in terms of our planning of replacing aging equipment so that we can reduce that amount?
I think that's our general goal. Yes, part of our capital improvement projects, we're targeting those aged equipment as well.
Okay. And then going to the comparisons.
Yes.
In terms of Sadie-Safi. It's a little bit of a difficult comparison because there's also different amounts of customers different size of system, et cetera. So all I was trying to point out here is that it's not a total like for like, right? In terms of if you have more customers, more accounts, there's
That's correct.
potential for more outages increases. So when we compare ourselves to Burbank, let's say Burbank Water and Power versus us, there's naturally going to be more. However, having said that, there are some trends here that make us stick out. What are you attributing those to? Is it the aging equipment? Like, how do you break that problem down if someone were looking at it from the objectively from the outside and saying, why are Glendale's numbers so high versus the other municipal utilities?
So if you're specifically talking about last year, I mentioned that we had a major outage, like 12-hour long
Yeah.
outage. That's for the last year. Our safety numbers are almost the same. We are below average. This chart that I'm showing right now. But SAIDI numbers, this is average duration of outage for average customers. So this one, so it depends on the also personnel and how soon we can find the location of the fault. Sometimes faults are in a vault and is not visible, so troublesman cannot find it. And then those type of faults are usually hard to detect. More staffing probably would help if we have more, a couple of troublemen or some training for our maybe energy control center people so that they can at least locate the fault faster. We do have some tools that they can utilize to locate the faults so that they can send the person to the right location. Those would help with restoring the system faster.
Have you compared on those issues specifically? Have you compared our situation versus the other utilities whereby you're saying that statement as a potential way to address it? Like, in other words, do they have more staff versus us?
I can say they have more staff than us. And I can say some of the technologies they use, we are also planning to use. For instance, I know Pasadena uses covered conductors. So we are starting to use that as well to help with overhead portions of our system. But I think staffing would be a major concern here.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, you mentioned the outage management system is the kind of data collection and record keeping tool that you use for this. Does it also log the location of these outages?
I'm not sure about the location, but you can, from the map that it develops, you can see, you can guesstimate where the fault location is.
So how does this work? How do we know where to send a field crew if we don't know the location of the outage?
So, as I said, OMS has a map. Let's say we have a partial outage and OMS talks to our AMI system. AMI shows the area that we lost the customer meter data. So that's an indication where they have to go and look for the outage. But
Okay,
if it's a major outage, it's a feeder outage at the substation level, it's all over. You can't guess. You have to send a troubleman to patrol the line.
Sure. And once we identify the specific failed component or damaged pole, do we log the specific pole or address? Yes. So we do have data on where these outages occur?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have data.
I think it would be interesting to see this data represented geographically. And I don't know if we have the GIS tools or the skill sets internal to the department, or if we need to partner up with another agency to do that. But Glendale's a pretty diverse city, and the experience of someone who lives in an apartment building downtown is probably different from someone who lives, in a leafy neighborhood with lots of tree cover. So do you have a sense of, are these outages spread consistently across the city? Do they cluster in certain areas?
I think they're spread evenly. Mostly overhead sections, we're experiencing more outages. Underground portions are solid. So like a downtown area is good. Near the couple of substations that we have with more of the underground system, they're more solid.
Okay. And for the overhead system, do you see a significant difference in outages for parts of the system that have already been upgraded to 12 kV versus those that are still pending an upgrade?
Good question. We haven't done that comparison, but we believe that's the case.
Okay. The city's spending millions of dollars every year to do that work. I think it's really critical that we gather the data to show that it's effective and that it's accomplishing something, rather than just taking it on faith that, well, industry standards say wire spacing farther apart, better reliability. Like, sounds like we have the data and can get it. So let's include that in the report. Is that something that we could do the next time this comes
Yes,
up?
we can present that.
Okay. So I think what I would like to request, and I'm just going to state this very directly for purposes of the minutes, so you have something to refer back to, is that for the next reliability report, we include a geographic report of outages that shows by customer neighborhood, so we can assess the impact for a particular customer in case there's any differential that way, and also kind of assess based on our distribution network topology, based on feeder by feeder. And I would expect that we see a clear breakpoint for feeders that have already been upgraded. They show higher reliability versus feeders that have not yet been upgraded, but we'll see. The data will show. So I think that would be a great enhancement to this report going forward, and a great way to document to our customers that the investments we're making that are causing their power bills to go up are in fact producing benefits. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I have a few questions, Mr. Bahodarian, but before I go through my questions, just tagging along what Alex just mentioned, you would be able to differentiate between 4 kV and 12 kV circuits. And I believe Commissioner Armenian last meeting mentioned about worst performing circuits. So with that, I'm sure you have the list already, but it'll be good to see that during your next presentation. With that, just a couple of questions about SAFE SAIDI. So I can understand with I mean, we have mostly an overhead system. We have some underground, but most of our system is overhead. So SAFE, high SAFE numbers make sense to me. It's still much higher than other utilities. For example, Burbank, I think it's the same boat as we are. It's mostly overhead than underground. So I wonder why our numbers are much different than theirs. So it's worth looking into that. One thing, it's a question mark for me, not SAFE, but SAIDI. Usually with overhead system, you see higher SAFE numbers, but lower SAIDI numbers because you can locate the fault much faster than an underground system and restore it. So I wonder why, excluding the 2025 that you mentioned, there was a big event, but even if you look at 24, 23, 22, our numbers are much higher than other utilities. So you mentioned resources. I'm assuming that's the problem. We don't have enough people to restore outages in a timely fashion. I'm not expecting an answer right now unless you're willing to give an answer.
I'm willing to discuss it openly. We did get the opportunity to hire 5 additional personnel that we can put out there. We're trying to decide where those 5 are going to work best on the electrical services group. We know we need more, just at the very least to get somewhere equivalent to where our neighbors are at. We used to have a high turnover. We don't necessarily have a high turnover now, but we do have a transitional where we have younger folks, and we're trying to bring them up to speed and train them as apprentices and bringing them into the fold. We do have to grow back into the Glendale water and power that we were a decade ago. There's a lot of things that have occurred in the past that kind of thinned us out, including how old our system has gotten. So we have a lot of work to do to catch up to that. We know that the 4 to 12 kV is a necessity. Most people are talking about that as a transitional element for assisting in the move towards electrification. I look at it as just common sense. We would be doing that whether there was additional electrification or not. There's a need to handle more energy flows and do system upgrades. So while we will definitely claim the benefits of doing that, especially when it relates to SAIDI, SAFE, and KD, that was not the original intent, but it's a benefit. So, but you bring up good points. It makes a lot of sense for us to compare and look. We're not going to improve unless we are actually analyzing ourselves to see if where we can improve. So it makes perfect sense to do so.
Just a comment about SAFE and SADE, and I think Commissioner Armenian brought up that point that some utilities are larger. My understanding, the intent of these indices are to normalize those numbers so you can compare a large utility to a small utility. So with that, it's the SADE is a little bit concerning to me. I mean, SAFE is too. We can do a lot of things like cover conductors, using covers, critter guards, and stuff like that. More reclosers. I mean, you already know I'm preaching to choir, but with that,
I do think there's one other point that if we're actually to understand the impacts and what's being traced in other utilities, we probably need to include Mayfie because we may be having, or they may have far more outages that are momentary outages that don't present themselves at these levels. And we may have less because we don't necessarily have a lot of recloser installed in our system. We haven't, that's probably another step that we need to take is adding more reclosers in our system. That would reduce the amount of larger outages, dropping them down to momentary, less than 5 minutes. And only because we could then, if we can safely identify the location of the issue and recognize that it's good, we can close it in sooner. So we reduce our duration also.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Another thing I forgot to mention is using our fault indicators. I know we use fault indicators, but do we have a program to, I know they have a lifespan, useful life basically. Do we have a program to replace those fault indicators? Because that's going to speed up the restoration process, identification and restoration process.
We don't have that many fault indicators in our system.
That's maybe we should
Yes.
invest into that
Yeah.
a little bit more, both overhead and underground. All right, going to the pie chart, if you can go to that slide, please.
Sorry.
So if we look at the trees and palm fronds combined, they're like what, 12.5%, 13%, right? So my question has, I mean, tree trimming has to do a lot with this. So my question has to do with what's the cycle of our tree trimming? How often do we go back to the same location, same tree to trim?
It's a year and a half to 2 years.
Okay. And are we able to keep up with that schedule?
I think so. We are keeping up, yes.
All right. That's another way to reduce number of outages.
I'm also fine with removing all palm trees.
Covered conductors, I mean,
Yes.
definitely will help in this situation. Another thing, it's just a suggestion. I know you keep track of the data in OMS. It'll be good. I'm not sure you're able to plot this, but the major outage causes, it'll be good to look at the trend on those. For example, balloons compared to 2021, 22, 23. What is it declining? Is it increasing? Same with the trees. That will tell us, for example, trees, are we keeping up with the tree trimming or not, for example, or we need more? It'll be good for the next presentation to have that trend line for not every single cause, but the major causes. It'll be good, or equipment failure as well. And I think that's about it for my comments on this item. Any additional comments? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bakhdarian.
Thank you.
We do have one more presentation from HOSEP.
Streetlight.
The streetlight capital improvement projects. That was another question the commission had. Just want to follow up and give you a little bit more details on that.
Okay, so I think as Mr. Mellon mentioned in the last commission meeting, Mr. Fay and Flanagan, you asked a question regarding our LED upgrade program. You wanted to know where we stand. We went back and did the assessment on the LEDs that were converted. And so just going to show you this slide here regarding LED program. So our budget was 400K. Or is 400K for this fiscal year. LED expenditure so far has been 247K, and then we verified that we converted 97% of our LEDs in the system. And hopefully we can finish the remaining one in the fiscal year 26-27, next fiscal year. We'll complete all the LED conversions. So I think
At that point, will every streetlight be LED, or are there some that are going to persist because of some technical or design reason?
all will be converted.
Okay. That would be a great, great PR moment to cut a ribbon or flip a switch or something like that. So sounds like we're getting close.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for that update.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And then this is one of our CIP projects for streetlights. There's another one that addresses everything else regarding streetlights. For instance, pool box, replacing pool boxes for streetlight poles. The connections, the wiring for the streetlights, those are covered with this other project, streetlight infrastructure. And budget for that project is $600K. Expenditure so far has been $319K on that project. So hopefully in the next year, if we finish the LEDs, we will only keep this one as our CIP projects going forward. And then we move the LED upgrades or maintenance to our maintenance account so that we can cover only replacing LEDs in case they go bad. So.
This is not a technical question. I know you've been dealing with the copper wire thefts for the historic street lights, which we had a problem with last year. But I had asked this question about the maintenance in terms of the painting of them. A lot of them rust because they're historic, obviously. I noticed that some were painted, some have not been painted. I don't understand the logic of why some have been painted and why some have not been painted, because they're kind of random all over the place. I'm particularly referring to the Rossmoyne neighborhood, but I know they exist in other parts of Glendale as well. So what is our specific plan in terms of maintenance? I brought this up in other forums as well. You kind of need a plan and a cycle by which you go back and you repaint because they start to rust again, as opposed to waiting for them to really deteriorate badly. So I just want to know kind of what's our plan. I do appreciate that GWP has finally started repainting them because they looked really, really bad. But like I said, that started to happen. It stopped. Some of them look shiny, brand new. Some of them look really bad. And they're all kind of intermixed. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to which ones were chosen to be repainted. So do we have a specific plan with a budget, with a timeline that every so many years we go back and we inspect and we repair? Can you give us a sense of that?
So that's one of the projects that is under this streetlight infrastructure. Also, we cover it under this. We currently actually have an active painting project for two areas. I think Verdugo Woodland area plus the Honolulu Avenue. I think we are currently finishing up the Honolulu Avenue painting. But we do have, again, same way, we have the database of when these things were last painted. And then we currently don't have a plan, but we can come up with a plan for the rest of them to see how we can address those.
Okay. Well, right now it doesn't look good on the utility when it's so random. So if you say you have a plan for Honolulu, et cetera, I assume you're going to do everything in that neighborhood area to take care of that neighborhood, or at least the ones that are some sort of criteria that you would use to say this is like the condition it needs to meet for it to trigger some sort of maintenance. But again, if we could get this more into a cycle and a maintenance cycle, that way, once you get them all up to kind of a certain standard, you can maintain that standard much more easily, as opposed to waiting for everything to deteriorate and then coming in and having to do really major mitigation work on them. So I would submit to you that Rossmoyne is a perfect example of where it seems totally random. There are actually many streetlights, if you walk the neighborhoods, that are in really bad condition. So it's not like, oh, they painted some of them because they were really bad and the rest of them are okay. No, I think they painted the ones that are perhaps more visible on the main feeder streets as opposed to more into the hills and the neighborhoods. And so if we're going to do this program, let's do it in a more methodical way where we have an inventory and we kind of also keep a historical log of when was the last time this thing was painted. So 5 years, I'm just using a random number, 5 years have gone by, so we should go back and inspect that particular part of the city where these exist because they've hit the 5-year mark or whatever you deem as the appropriate standard to use. But I think we need to turn this into a more methodical, repeatable program, and that way you can budget more. Because right now you have a $600,000 budget here. I don't know what it's based on. I don't know if you know what it's based on, like how you came up with that number, whether or not it even incorporated things like I'm bringing up.
200, almost 250 was for painting.
250 of the
Yes.
600,000?
Yes.
And how did you come up with that number?
We just targeted 2 areas that needed painting, and then
Based on an inventory?
it
Based on
was
a going
based
out
on
and
a
inspection
request,
program?
if I'm not mistaken, from council members.
Well, okay. So council members shouldn't be the driving force.
So I come back to you need an inspection program. You need to know the inventory in your system, and you need to know the condition of your streetlights. Based upon that, you come up with a number. I mean, this is your job, not mine, but I'm giving you my suggestions with some professional experience. You need to come up with the right number. Now, I understand that maybe if you do the inspections, it could turn into millions of dollars that you can't find all at once. But at least you can come up with a program, even if it's a multi-year program, to say every year we're going to do X dollar amount of maintenance until we get everything up to a certain standard, which is the GWP standard, right? Because these are also, I know it's aesthetic to some degree, but it's also, it's the break fix model versus the, preventive maintenance model. And if you can get things to the preventive maintenance level, it'll also affect the aesthetics of the community, making sure they're reliable and on from a safety and security perspective as well.
Noted. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bakhruddin, I have a couple of questions. You mentioned, I'm glad we're at 97%. It's a big accomplishment, to be frank. But question, I know you answered it, but I'm going to ask again. Does the LEDs, the program covers the post-up, every type of light, post-ups, all of it?
Yes.
Okay, so we only have 3%. Do you know where that 3% is? Is it a one geographical area or it's spread across?
It's spread. We recently issued a job package for Adams Hills area, like 160 poles. So that hopefully will be completed in the next few months. And then there are other pedestrian lights. We have to target those next. So
Perfect.
yeah.
And
Can I jump in on that? On behalf of my neighbors in Adams Hill, will the color temperature change significantly with the new LED bulbs? Or are we doing kind of a direct replacement?
Not sure, but yeah. They're dimmable, so hopefully we can install something that fits the neighborhood.
There is a certain level of dimmableness
Yes.
to the bulbs, but you're not going full range soft to super bright. There's some limit to it.
I think the issue is less about the brightness and more about the color temperature. Is it more of a blue or more of an orange,
Blue,
right?
yeah,
I don't know,
blue,
is
yellow,
that what
white.
you mean? The color is actually tunable to some degree? Okay.
Well, but there are colors there are hues to the lights. Yes, there's more like a yellow, there's more like a white, there's more like a blue. But there's also the intensity. And that, I don't know how programmable that is, especially with these particular light bulbs. It's more about how bright it comes across. And sometimes brightness does have an influence on the color, the white or the blue, not necessarily into the yellow range. So there's a little flexibility, but not a lot.
Can I just? I mean, I take it are we aware of the Dark Sky Association? No?
As far as
There is a
light
Dark
pollution,
Sky Association, and they have I think it's 3,600 degree Kelvin. There is a color that is approved by the Dark Sky Association to minimize that brightness that you're talking about.
Well, I can just share the experience in Ross Moyne. This is before I was on the commission, but we had that problem when you first started changing the historic street lights into LEDs, and they turned into airport runway lights, which were very, very intrusive. And if you remember, the traditional lights were much more yellow. So we finally came to an agreement with GWP in terms of the Roswin HOA to go back to a standard, which implemented the LED, but implemented it now they're kind of dimmer, more yellowish, in whatever that standard is for those particular types of pedestal lamps. There's still onesie twosies out there that are the runway lights and are really bright white, don't fit the look. But again, this comes back down to a standard for GWP to approve that fits the context in which they are. Now, some of the overhead lights, you know, those, because they face down, they can tend to be brighter, whiter, you know, because they have to light more. So it depends on the type of street light, but I would, again, encourage you to kind of factor those things in, because in the community, you know, you get too bright. I mean, even though being lit is better than not being lit, but, you know, if it's lit too brightly and it's the really bright white version, then I think that is a different, you create a different problem.
Yeah, and I think all this is just intended to head off any potential neighborhood blowback or other kinds of issues, right? We want the LED lights for sure. Right. It's more energy efficient. They last longer. There's a million reasons. But sometimes they've gotten a bad rap because the deployment has not been sensitive to these kinds of aesthetic concerns. And for these kind of non-traditional streetlights, the pedestal pedestrian ones, people are very, very protective of them. You know, in Adams Hill, that was kind of the galvanizing issue that formed the whole community association however many years ago. So proceed with caution. And if you'd like to speak to some of the neighbors, I'd be happy to help connect you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of more questions. I know traffic safety lights doesn't fall under Water and Power's jurisdiction, but it looks weird when you drive through a street and you have all LED lights. All of a sudden, you get to the intersection, it's completely different color. Then you pass the intersection, you go back to LED. I know this has been an issue with for years. Have we talked to I don't know, Public Works Traffic to see what their plan is, whether maybe we can coordinate this with them? I know you're 97% done, so there's not much coordination anymore. But do we know if they have a plan to replace those safety lights with LEDs?
It's interesting you bring up Public Works because it used to be their charge to take care of the LED lights and the lamps. It only fairly recently became Glendale Water and Power's. And that's probably why we lack the appropriate standards and things like that, but we are definitely moving towards it. We've had many conversations about developing the standards that are needed to, you know, solve the problems to begin with. As far as the street lights or the traffic lights and that, no, I don't think we've done a lot of coordination with Public Works in order to figure out where they are in their transition. But we are working in several other areas to coordinate with them, so it shouldn't be too hard for us to also work with them on this.
Yeah. Well, it's worth at least asking them to see if they can prioritize those, because like I said, it looks weird.
Yeah.
You drive up on Kenyatta, you have all white LEDs, then you get to an intersection, it's all yellow, so.
Yeah.
Last question. I know years ago, we had a program to install streetlights based on customer requests.
Yes.
Do we still have that program?
Yeah, we still have that program. It's called petition, streetlight by petition. So if a neighborhood asks for lights, so we usually get a kind of a survey going, ask everybody in the neighborhood to make sure everybody is in line with the request. And then we used to have a committee before, which police department was part of it, but no longer I think they're participating. So I think based on the foot candle requirement of that area, we decide to add a light there for the customers. Yeah, we still have that program.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
I think that summarizes my questions and comments. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I do appreciate that it's not easy managing streetlights, even though it may seem like it's an easy thing. And I will say that, I mean, your efforts and GWP's efforts to maintain our streetlights is greatly appreciated. We just heard big announcement, I think it was last week or the week before, by LADWP and the mayor that they're going to be replacing 60,000 streetlights. If all you have to do is go into LA and you see how many streetlights are out within LADWP's area. So I do appreciate I just want to say, appreciate the efforts. And I wanted to say, I know, like I said, it's not the funnest or easiest thing to do, even though it may seem like it's a simple task, but it's not.
Nope.
But it is greatly appreciated by the community and neighborhoods. I think it makes a dramatic difference how well we do that job in terms of maintaining and being responsive to streetlight outages and things like that. So just wanted to state that it is appreciated and it's worth the effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I have one more comment. I think once we complete the last 3%, it's worth an announcement by water. I'm sure probably it's going to be part of the city manager's newsletter.
Yes, absolutely. We'll take anything we can get to celebrate. I appreciate every option.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bajo.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to our next item. I do see commercial EV charging station rebate program, but I didn't have a presentation.
It's a video.
Video.
It's Giancarlo, actually.
If we could please have the item read into the record,
What? Yeah.
the next agenda item.
Yes, one moment.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are we going over the EV charging station rebate program or not?
Yes.
I'm
That's
sorry. Oh,
item-
I jumped over that. I'm sorry.
It's just water, it's okay.
Item 5C, Water AMI System Replacement Project Update.
All right, welcome. Go ahead.
So good evening, President Avidian, members of the commission. My name is Giancarlo Alcantara. I'm the Utility Businesses Support Administrator. And I'll be going over just a quick overview of or update of where we are with the AMI water replacement program. All right, before we get into the latest updates, I just wanted to quickly recap the issues we've been dealing with today. Right now, about 40% of our water endpoints, these are the devices that report use meter data back to us, are not communicating. This is creating several challenges for us and our customers. It puts a heavy burden on our field services team who have to go out there and manually collect these reads. And also pulls them away from other important services that they're responsible for. On the customer side, the customers don't have that visibility into their usage, making it harder for them to manage water consumption or catch leaks early. We've taken some steps to alleviate the issue. We've added the automated meter reading solution, but again, this is only a partial fix as it still requires field services to go out and perform field visits. So the reality is that our MI system's outdated. It's out of support, and it's in need of replacement. So that's where we are today. So here's the timeline of what we've done so far. In May of last year, we issued an RFP to replace the AMI system. When the RFP closed in July, we received 4 strong proposals from leading AMI vendors. That was Aquametric, Ferguson, Core & Main, and Itron, who's our current provider today. The evaluation committee independently scored the proposals, and the group reached a consensus to select Ferguson as the recommended vendor. We held follow-up interviews and contacted several utilities as reference checks, all which came back positive. At the beginning of this year, our water engineering department also issued a separate RFP for inspection services to support the project. The RFP closed in February, and in March, Wilden was selected as the preferred vendor. So with both our AMI and inspection services vendors chosen, we are ready to go to council on April 28th to request an award for both contracts and to move forward with this project. Okay, here's a summary of our AMI RFP evaluation. Because a portion of the project involves technology, communication devices, system integrations, we design our RFP scoring to reflect these priorities. That's why the cost represents only 30% of the total score. And while the remaining are based on the approach, qualification, experience, and completion of the proposal and schedule. This table shows how each member in the committee scored the proposals. The categories were evaluated using a weighted scoring system with 10 points being the highest possible in each category. And at the end, the total points was 10 for each proposer. So as you can see, the consensus was Ferguson as the top ranked proposer after our evaluation. And just for reference, here's a quick breakdown of the initial pricing submitted by each proposer. So Ferguson not only offered us the strongest overall value, but also came in second lowest among the top, the 4 proposals. And although the RFP included an option for lid replacement, none of the proposals including lid costs in their initial pricing. So lids were not part of the initial evaluation. After selecting Ferguson, we reviewed the costs and logistical challenges of drilling lids, existing lids, and based on that analysis, along with the favorable negotiated price for lids, we decided to move forward and include full lid replacement as part of the project. So this is at the end of the presentation, you'll see a different amount. That's why, because it did not include lids. And then similar to the AMI RFP for the inspection services RFP, the water department structured the scoring to emphasize experience with the water AMI meters and endpoints, which accounted for 50% of the total score. The remaining 50% was split between the budget and proposer understanding of the project and scope. So again, this table here shows the final rankings with Wilden ranked at the highest overall. Okay, so that was a quick summary again on just our RFP process. Here's a summary of the scope of the project again. The vendor will provide full project management. This includes procurement, inventory management, installation, disposal of equipment. They will also handle public outreach, such as multilingual notification, door hangers, and other communication. The scope includes designing the AMI network, integrating the systems with our meter data management system, our customer information system, and gathering all the necessary information documentation for customer service lines. And again, Wildan will provide inspection services. And here's a breakdown of the project cost. Ferguson's is just over $24 million. Again, covers the full deployment of the system, including lid replacement. It also covers our first year of system support. Additional 4 years for maintenance is just under $200,000. And we also are including a 10% contingency for the project. And again, Wildan's $462,000 for inspection services, and the estimated completion of the project is looking at the end of 2027 based on our schedule. And that concludes the update. I'm not sure if there's any questions.
Thank you, Carlo. Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, what is the expected life cycle of this investment? Once we make the investment, how long do we think they'll last from both a equipment perspective, but also just from a technology life cycle perspective?
So we have warranty of 15 to 20 years. For
15 to 20?
15 to 20 years, yes. And then the solution is a SaaS, so that's a software as a service, so it's not in-house, so they would be responsible for making sure that we're up to date. Yeah.
And with this investment, what additional capabilities will this give us, both in terms, not just in terms of reading usage data, but in terms of other types of customer benefits as well as operational benefits in terms of improving how we maintain and the reliability of the system.
Yeah, I mean, aside from, again, we're behind schedule in a way as far as, not even collecting billing. So aside from billing, having usage information in a 15-minute or 60-minute could help with leak detection. It could also tie it into any up system that we might need to do an analysis on based on usage. And again, it allows us to move forward and look into AI or anything that's going to be used with the data that we're collecting. So it opens up possibilities. So on the customer side, I think, again, visibility to the usage is great. And again, leak detection is big. I know that's something that we've heard over and over again from our customers. So being able to solve that is a big deal for us.
Thank you.
Sorry, so on the features, will the new meters have the remote disconnect capability or not?
They do have some available. We're not putting any yet. There's some that not only will do a full disconnect, there's also, I think they limit the usage or the water going through. So it's not a full disconnect. But the meters that we're going to be putting out do not have that capability. But with Ferguson, we do have the option if there's a need to put some out there, and that's a decision that's made, then we have that opportunity.
I know it's more expensive to have that feature on the meters, so.
Right, those meters are a lot more expensive.
Any other comments from fellow commissioners?
Just a question about the integrated nature of the service. So we're buying equipment that goes in the ground on the pipes that's going to last 15 or 20 years, and we have a software that helps us read all that. And we're buying both of those from the same vendor, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Is there an open standard or open data element within this field that would allow us to use a different software vendor to communicate with the installed assets, or are we locked in to use this proprietary software that's from the manufacturer of the meters themselves?
Well, the meters themselves and the software is from the same provider, but I mean, I think with the data that we're going to be collecting, are you thinking separate vendor for
the risk
storing?
It makes total sense when you're getting started to have them all integrated because they'll work well right out of the box. But we're prepaying for 5 years of software maintenance. Come year 6, if these systems are proprietary and not interoperable, then Ferguson could charge us $1 million a year for software, and we wouldn't have any recourse because we're not going to replace all of our meters just because their software price went up a little bit. So I think that's what I want to make sure we're protected for when you have a disconnect between the cycle life of the asset and then the contracting term. Right. So maybe you want to address that.
Yes, sir, I can chime in on that. And this is really a lesson learned from our previous AMI, in which we were not able to have sort of a backward compatibility with the softwares. And so moving forward, we do have the ability to, if you will, segregate the hardware, the actual meter and lids from the software, the SaaS software that Giancarlo mentioned. And so we're now locked in after the first 5 years. If we see that there's a software that's more integratable to what we're looking for, we can certainly maneuver and pivot as needed.
And is that based on some industry standard within the water utility space?
Well, certainly, but we also just want to make sure that we have, as you mentioned, latitude to be able to upgrade as needed. These meters also have the capability to retrofit flow restrictors or flow stoppers if need be. So it's not going to be a complete rehaul of the entire system, but we can actually retrofit it, which would be a much more economical cost.
So you're saying after the initial meter upgrade, if we wanted to add some of that functionality, it's an easier incremental upgrade versus replacing the whole meter?
That is correct.
Okay. So that might mean if we had a habitual, non-payment issue with water at a particular address, we could put in a flow restrictor or a remote shutoff at that site. Or if we thought maybe for fire prevention or emergency management wanted to remote shut off to prevent leaks, you know, if a water main is broken or something like, we could do those things in the future?
In the future, currently. Not right now, but in the future, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's great. Sounds like you set this up right. It's super important that we don't get held hostage by the software vendor at year 6 and beyond. I'm sure they're nice people, but it can happen. So thank you for taking that into account.
Yeah, and that's, sorry if I didn't understand the question initially, but that's true. Usually in this industry, they're completely different. You could have Neptune meters with a different head-end system, so it definitely does not tie you in. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Fay.
Just a couple quick questions. So Itron was the provider before, and they were suggesting complete hardware replacement, I take it.
Their proposal, yes, complete hardware,
No way
complete new system as well.
Okay.
New.
And then what's a lid?
A lid, so that's what goes on top of the meter box. I don't know if you walked
Right
around.
out on the street. The
Yeah.
little,
Do you see so on top of the meter box, there's
Yep.
what would be a lid, and then there's an actual endpoint. I don't know if you've seen, if you walk around.
I think I have one right in front of my house.
Yeah, you'll probably have one right
Okay.
outside.
It's
So
just
it just covers the meter box.
And so we need new ones.
We need new ones because we need to drill the endpoint again, and it's a different size.
Different size.
Yeah, so otherwise, so these new lids that we'll be getting will come pre-drilled. It's going to be easy to swap
Yeah.
versus bringing them in, having to re-drill them, and it's a little bit more complicated
And
and
so we have about $2
challenging.
million worth of lids.
$2 million worth of lids.
So what's a
and
lid cost?
they're different sizes, I believe. They range from $30 to $50.
Okay. Yeah.
But we were able to negotiate a pretty good price
Okay.
for them.
Did you guys know what the lids were? You probably did. Everybody knew except me.
You're overthinking it, Ted.
No, what's a lid? Reminds me of high school. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And just for clarification, if you're actually interested in seeing one, there's some right on Wilson. If you just walk over to the street, right on the sidewalk area, there's lids with that, I guess it's, what hit the
Endpoint?
endpoint, thank you. The endpoint mounted in it.
Around them somehow. So.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, the ones we have today they kind of go a little bit over the lid.
Yeah.
The ones we're getting through Neptune will be flat, so it'll
Much
be a
better.
lot better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So these new meters, I know we have the head end system and we have our meter data management system. I'm assuming the new meters, the Ferguson meters, will communicate. There's not going to be an issue with our existing systems, correct?
No.
And will they use, I know, what was the system, the Wi-Fi system, Tropos?
Tropos.
Will the new meters communicate through Tropos and
Yes.
that's
So the meters connect to collectors,
Right.
and we'll be putting with Ferguson. We'll have what the propagation study is showing is 10 collectors out there.
Okay.
So the 10 collectors are tied to Tropos. That's how we bring back the information.
So you're going to need to add new collectors, or the existing collectors that you have are adequate?
There'll be new collectors. That's part of the project is 10 new collectors, but they'll be tying into our existing Tropos network.
How about customer notifications? I know if you want to go replace the meter, there's going to be kind of a short period that you're going to shut off the water and replace the meter. What's our notification procedure for customers?
Well, what we're planning to do is, I think 48 hours before, provide them a door hanger. Again, we have different means of communication. We could do email. We will know who is going to be scheduled for a replacement. We could do email. We could do text. We could even do a smart VX video, some personalized video for them, letting them know that they'll be scheduled for a replacement. So we'll be providing as much information as possible through as many of the means that we have today.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, not just door hangers, 48-hour notice, but if we can do an advance notification to customers in a certain area that water and power crews will be coming, or the contractor will be coming to replace the meters, that'll be great.
Yeah, they'll be multilingual, so we'll make sure it's covering Armenian, Spanish, I think Korean, and then also Ferguson will be handling a call center to help our call center if there's any questions from the customers, so that's also included.
Perfect.
Do we know what amount of duration of interruption it would take for each replacement?
I've been told 30 minutes. I don't know if that's true.
Within 20 to 30 minutes is typically how long it takes to replace a single meter.
Okay. So it'd be good if we can plan it out to the previous question where you give people a window. I know you can't give them like a 20-minute window, but a precise appointment. But if you just like other utilities do, where at least you give a window of the time of day that, you'll be coming by type of thing.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate the presentation.
Yeah.
Exciting project.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now it's time for the commercial EV charging rebate program. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to ask a question related to the AMI. Is there a need or a similar look at the electrical side of the AMI issue?
Yes, but water is by far.
I know we have the communication issue.
Yes, it definitely needs a lot of work to get that done. The way iTron was set up is we didn't have a lot of flexibility because iTron was doing both, and the communication pathways were through the electric meters also. So getting the new water system installed, new water AMI installed, gives us a little bit more flexibility in how we handle the electric meter replacements. But we would probably be looking at that within the next 2 years.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Item 5D, commercial EV charging station rebate program highlights.
Welcome.
Good evening, President Avedian and Commission members. My name is Ruzan Soloyan, Clean Energy Officer. The Clean Energy team, GWP's Clean Energy team, marketing team, Glendale TV, and one property owner in Glendale collaborated together to create a video so we can share about our commercial electric vehicle charging rebate program with our business community, and we will be sharing the video today, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about the program.
Perfect.
At Glendale Water and Power, we make it easy for our community to go electric. Our programs provide guidance and financial incentives to make installing EV chargers easier and more affordable. And with more residents driving electric vehicles, accessibility to charging is key. So join us as we share the story of one property owner who took that step and made a difference for his tenants and the community.
We own a 19-unit property here in Glendale, and I wanted to provide convenient charging for our tenants today while also preparing the building for the future. Installing electric chargers now ensures that we're prepared when more residents want to switch over to electric vehicles. When I found out about Glendale Water and Power's EV charger rebate program, it sounded like the perfect opportunity. The application process was straightforward. GWP guided us through each step. We installed 12 EV chargers in the parking area, and the tenants love it.
Glendale's clean energy programs are designed to put money back in your pocket while helping you transition to cleaner and more efficient technologies. From energy water equipment upgrades to electrifying your home, business, or vehicle, we offer a broad range of solutions to help our customers save. Whether you're receiving a rebate check for installing an electric vehicle charger or reducing your monthly utility bills through participation in our programs, the benefits are real and measurable. And this is bigger than just savings. Every step towards cleaner, more efficient technologies reduces emissions, improves air quality in our homes and across our community, and helps us build a healthier and more sustainable Glendale.
The feedback has been great. Some tenants were considering switching to an EV, and now they feel more confident in their choice. It's been a win-win for them and for us as the property owners.
At Glendale Water and Power, we provide tools, incentives, and guidance our customers need to install EV chargers. Whether you're a homeowner, tenant, or a business, we're here to help you make the switch to electric vehicles, plus enjoy the added benefit of saving when charging during off-peak hours through our off-peak charging incentive program. Ready to join Glendale's electric future? Explore our EV programs and incentives online. Glendale Water and Power, saving you money today, building a cleaner tomorrow.
Yep. Congratulations, great video. And great program. Any comments, questions?
And I assume that this is also would apply for like shopping centers and others who want to incentivize.
This will apply to any commercial or multifamily property owner in Glendale.
Okay. Multifamily. that's-
Multifamily and commercial.
And commercial, okay. And will we target commercial? I'm thinking particularly, I don't see any, I see very few shopping centers that have, medium and long dwell kind of uses, customers, where EV charging could incentivize people to come. And I also noticed that Whole Foods took theirs out. So I don't know what the story is there, but if there's a way to target some of the, this particular video has a kind of multi-unit family dwelling focus to it, but if there's a way to do commercial,
we will be
property
coordinating
as well.
closely with marketing team and utilizing all of the possible communication channels to get the information to all commercial and multifamily customers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
Thank you. Exciting to see that. Great actors in that, and where you got those. So is there an EV charging rate that's different from our commercial power rate? Or are those meters just hooked up to the same meter? Same meter?
They're hooked up to the main connection at the facility. So on the multifamily residents, it's just coming through their normal drop. So
Right.
they may have to upgrade their the load centers to accommodate the higher current draw, but that'd be part of the cost. And I think there was a $1,000 rebate or
For
assistance.
panel upgrades.
Yeah, there's a $1,000 assistance in upgrading your panel too.
So are those customers paying demand charges as well as energy charges?
Yes.
So, and the customer is aware that their demand charge will go up considerably,
It's all part of the bill process.
but they're aware of that?
I would assume so.
Okay. I mean, I work with a lot of schools. We're putting in electric bus chargers. Depending on where your meter is set up, we're very concerned about the demand charge going up dramatically, especially if you do coincident charging at the same coincident charging. So, interesting. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Good. Couple of comments. First off, great actors. So as far as the billing goes, if a commercial property owner, like in that case, the building owner, when they put the EV chargers, I assume they will handle the billing with whoever the tenant is as far as how much they charge and all that, correct?
That's
So we're not involved with that?
We're
Okay.
not.
All right, yeah, great program. One concern I have, not related to the presentation, but related to EV chargers, specifically to Pacific Community Center. There are level 2 chargers on the backside, I think it's alleyway, whatever it's called. It's in a bad shape. Most of them are knocked out, they don't work. It's been like that for a long time. I don't know what the plan is to address them, replace them, or do something, but they don't look good.
Are those our chargers?
We are specifically focused on the chargers at City Hall, at Civic Center, but we will be also looking at replacing any other chargers that have been degraded.
Yeah, those are specifically for Pacific Community
Pacific
Center
Community
in the
Center.
backside. I don't know if it's owned by the city. I assume it is.
I'd have to check.
They were put in relatively recently, I mean, within the last few years. But they've been, that whole back parking lot is a big problem from a vandalism perspective and just in terms of people who hang out. So I noticed that as soon as we put them in, whoever put them in, I don't know if it was Parks and Rec or whether it was just contracted out, but it was quickly deteriorated.
Yeah.
You've hit on a couple of the major issues associated with EV chargers. Maintaining them in any form, just normal charging, or the vandals do come, they'll steal the copper, they'll cut into it. Some people just destroy things because it's fun to destroy, apparently. It's not even that they're stealing, they're just breaking it because they feel like it. And that's, it's not unique to Glendale, unfortunately. The new system that we're trying to implement here does include maintenance on the route. Once we can get them replaced, it will include maintenance and upkeep on the chargers. I'm not sure if the commission is aware, but we just recently went to council to approve some privatization of EV chargers being installed in the public right-of-way. So we're going to be moving forward with that. There's a huge benefit there in that the utility and the city aren't liable for maintaining them. Whoever chooses to do the installation will have to maintain them, right? That'll be part of their business model. So it relieves us a little bit, but we're always concerned about the look, right? So we're still going to be involved in that. So I appreciate that input. We'll take a look and see if that is either one of our projects or if it was something remnant from one of the other departments. We're also trying to incentivize the other departments to take on EV installations for their own projects. There's benefit for them if they'd like it. So we're kind of opening the door to whatever we can do to increase the amount of EV charger installations in Glendale in general.
Can I ask a follow-up question? So I just want to understand this. So a building owner, apartment building owner, works through your program, installs the chargers, and then I live there and I charge my vehicle. Do I get can that building owner charge me for that?
Yes, they may charge you through an app.
They charge, so that I might be one of several people that use that charger, and the chargers have the capability of assigning, recognizing my vehicle, or somehow, or do I use a credit card to pay for that?
Yeah, I can tell you. I mean, it depends on the way the building owner wants to set it up. If they want to present that as a benefit to the tenants, they can pay for it. Most likely, though, if it's multiple spots and multiple chargers, they would set up a networked set of charging stations where you'd set up account, just like a charge point account where you're going on the road, and it would charge you back on an account.
And they can charge whatever they want.
They can set their rates.
That's true.
Thank you.
The math I've looked at before, because I tried to do it in a multi-unit dwelling myself where I owned a unit, is you will never recoup your cost of the investment you have to make on the, not never, but it would take a really long payback period to recoup your infrastructure investment. You can recoup the actual usage, but if you're trying to recoup the actual investment of all the equipment, upfront investment and all that, that'll take a long time, even if you set it at a relatively high rate.
So to that point,
we as a utility are not giving any guidance on that. I mean, when you go into the Tesla network or any of these networks, there's a wide range of kilowatt hour charges for power. And obviously, as a municipal utility and a city promoting decarbonization of our electric mobility, we want the rates to be lower than higher, right? So, but it sounds like we don't take any, we stay out of that completely.
That's right. We do. We stay out of it.
Okay. Might be something to think about for future programs.
So we have considered the impact of doing such a thing. involving caps or trying to ensure that any rates are within a certain percentage. We've talked about quite a few things.
Yeah, if you get an incentive from the utility,
Right.
then you have to adhere to a certain threshold, like you're
So
saying.
we're in a place where, do we want to ensure that there's sufficient number of EV chargers out there, or do we want to not ensure that? So there has to be a return on investment. We're not looking to get in the business, and this is why we propose the privatization option, is we are considering the implications of whether or not we want to influence the pricing, which means you can do this, but you can't do increases above X, or over year over year, you can't do anything above like CPI as an example, that kind of thing. The interest in getting EV chargers built by a private company is going to be directly related to how quickly they can recover their cost. So we don't want to insert ourselves into that process.
Right.
And we are looking at multiple installers, multiple vendors, right? We have no problem if people come back, or our companies come back and say they want to do this site, but they don't want to do that site. We could have 10 different providers. I'm looking at it from a gas station model, which is people will go based on the cost. I'm going to plug in here because I know I can get it charged by an X amount of minutes, but I also know this is my cost for doing that. And over here, it's more expensive, right? So if we get to that point where we have enough vendors interested in doing, on the privatization side, installations throughout the city, and they're different competition bases, that's even better for our customers because they're going to go where it's least expensive or most convenient, right?
We want to get out of the business of subsidizing chargers,
Yes.
especially if the building owners are going to cause the charging rate to be so high that they're not used.
Yeah.
I think the other challenge in multi-unit dwellings, especially in this area where it's all built out, I mean, I think the example in the video looks like new construction. So it's much easier to design it into the construction versus trying to get a current landlord to retrofit and make that investment. The numbers, like I said, don't pencil out in terms of immediate, even break even when you do that. So they have to really want to do it for the purpose of attracting tenants. I think as we see more adoption, it becomes and tenants are demanding it, or it becomes a criteria for where they want to rent. I think that those are some of the drivers.
So to that point, I think providing up to $75,000 incentive, I mean, that has that may change somebody's mind.
Yeah, it has
as
a
far as
kick.
calculation goes. Right. And just I caution you about trying to tell people how much to charge. You can tell them that, but who's going to police it?
Yeah.
Over time, I caution you. So that's all I'm going to say.
I appreciate that caution, and we've had several instances where I've had conversations about, can we do something? Yes. Can we enforce it? Less likely. I don't think we want to create a condition that will require additional staff or additional effort to like make sure that they're following.
We want to educate not only building owners, but consumers, right? I mean, any of us that have EVs know that there's a wide range of prices out there. So that will naturally keep that price down the more educated the consumers are. They won't want to charge there if the price gets too high.
I had one clarification. I'm sorry if I missed it. Is there a minimum number of chargers that a building has to put in to qualify for the incentive?
Yes, there is a minimum number of chargers, and let me pull it quickly.
For those of you who are watching, she's going to our website that has all the information.
And that website address is?
Not off the top of my head.
At least one EV charger station that is publicly accessible.
Publicly meaning beyond a tenant's access? So if it's a controlled garage, they can't?
Tenants will be considered
public.
Mm-hmm. So at least one, and then it will cover infrastructure upgrades or panel upgrades, and it's up to 50,000 or up to 50%, whichever is less. And the 75,000 number is specifically for disadvantaged communities. It's either 75,000 or up to 75%, whichever is less.
And how are you defining disadvantage?
SB 535 defines the map,
Okay,
and we include that in the application process.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next item.
Item number 5E, legislative update.
Good afternoon. This is Don. Good afternoon, President Avedian and Commissioners. So currently we are tracking, there are currently 1,798 pieces of legislation at the state legislature. We are tracking about 145 of them that impact POUs. Some have positive impacts, others may have negative impacts. Before I dive into that, I want to talk about some of the work we've done this year so far. So we were in Sacramento for the California Municipal Utilities Association Capital Day on January 26th. We met with our state representatives, including Senator Perez, Assembly members Schultz and Coloza. We highlighted the need to retain electric utility allowances under the new Cap and Invest program beyond 2030 to ensure affordability, eliminate barriers that delay new clean energy projects. We spoke on CARB's ACF, Advanced Clean Fleet ruling, to ensure flexibility during emergency events. For example, things like the Ford Lightning are discontinued, so that will greatly impact us. Other topics included data centers, nuclear energy, high-speed rail, and utility infrastructure located along the right-of-way of high-speed rail. Tariffs were a much larger topic earlier in the year. Federal tax credits, many of which are expiring, wildfire, and transmission. In February, Mr. Obegolo and myself attended the Association of California Water Agencies Legislative Symposium. We met with a wide range of folks, including the Assembly and Senate consultants on the water committees, our respective committees, different names. We also met with the Vice Secretary of Water at the California Natural Resources Agency, Samantha Arthur. We spoke on funding as a big thing, especially Prop 4, and seeing how we can collect any sort of funding from that for our projects, including water reuse. We spoke on the future of Delta Conveyance, the Sites Reservoir Project, regional cooperation, especially between tri-cities, to see if we can get funding that can impact all three of our neighboring cities. Later in the month, there was the American Public Power Association Legislative Rally in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, Mr. Narcisse and I could not attend due to unforeseen circumstances, but Mr. Mellon did attend, and he met with staff from Senator Padilla's office, Senator Schiff's, Senator Schiff himself, I believe, Congressmember Friedman, as well as staff from the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee and the House Energy and Commerce Committee, including Energy Subcommittee staff. Topics discussed included permitting reform, especially projects on federal land, nuclear, small modular reactors as cost-effective resources that are clean, low-income home energy assistance programs, pole attachments, wildfire, including a voluntary federal insurance program, expand vegetation management along the rights of way on federal land, and the FEMA Reform Act, which would elevate FEMA to a cabinet-level agency. All right. So some key energy bills. Senate Bill 1011 by Senator McNerney. The key takeaway is that it sets up the CEC as a regulator for POU's automated systems, including AI. We fear that it may cause a lot of tedious paperwork for reporting and to get approval from the CEC for anything that we would have to take care of, essentially. So we're closely monitoring it and hoping for some amendments. Senate Bill 1168, once again by Senator McNerney, would put a surcharge on natural gas and electricity used by data centers beginning January 1st, 2027. It would be 0.3 of a thousandth of a cent per kilowatt hour, but we are concerned of the effects it might have on bringing data centers and other large entities into our service territory. And the funds collected by this would be allocated to low-income rate assistance programs. What's not clear is if, let's say, X amount is collected from Glendale Water and Power Service Territory, what X amount return to low-income folks in Glendale's service territory, or we distribute across the state, and so money being collected here might not necessarily come back to our city and its residents. So that's not been clarified yet. AB 1820 by Assemblymember Pilar Schiavo. This is another interesting bill. Would cap EV charger permitting fees to $100 for residential units and $500 for commercial units. If a city does determine a fee and can prove it is reasonable, they are then exempt from this rule. What's unclear is what qualifies as reasonable and who would be the determining authority. It is not specified in the bill. AB 2516, the California Grid Manufacturing Initiative would establish the energy unit at the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, or GOBIZ, would help procure transmission devices. Again, it's not clear how they would receive funding for this. They list a wide variety of potential funding sources, but none are confirmed. So again, things that we are closely monitoring to see how they plan on impacting these. Senate Bill 1153. This is sponsored by ACWA, the Association of California Water Agencies. So it's set to address the gap between water system capabilities and wildfire suppression needs, noting that systems that are built for water delivery, not primarily for fire suppression. Mandates that urban retail water suppliers in high or very high fire hazard zones include specific mitigation actions, equipment, and procedures to lessen wildfire impacts on water supply. This will take effect January 1st, 2028. Senate Bill 2180, once again sponsored by ACWA, clarifies that local agencies may use reasonable methodologies to allocate service costs among parcels and may establish uniform or tiered water rates based on shared customer characteristics. The bill affirms that agencies may assign higher supply and infrastructure costs to higher usage tiers without requiring water to be traced from specific sources to individual parcels. At the same time, the legislation preserves a core constitutional requirement that rates not exceed proportional cost and thus not violate Prop 218. So it's supposed to clarify how utilities can charge for water delivery without violating Prop 218, because it was something that has been left unclear for quite a while now. SB 1001 would allow for Cal OES, or the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, to issue credentials or ID badges to local public and private corporations, agencies that are viewed as essential workers during natural disasters, acts of terror, man-made disasters, and this would be effective July 1st, 2028, so ahead of the 2028 fire season. And this came about because of last January's incidents where there was a lot of miscommunication where staff from, let's say, local utility could not access an area that is being monitored by state or federal authorities. There was some confusion as to who was allowed to enter which area. AB 1793, that's a fun bill. Given that the penny is no longer being minted, this would change the way prices are finalized, if you could say. So prices ending in 1, 2, 6, or 7 would round down to 0, while prices ending in 3, 4, 8, or 9 would round up. So for example, something that cost $5.03 would be $5.05. Something that cost $10.06 would become $10.05. Yep, new bill. Some other bills include AB 2647, exempts advanced nuclear reactors, including ones with enhanced safety and ones built after 2004, from nuclear siting moratoriums. SB 872, once again by Senator McNerney, would allocate $150 million to restore state-owned water conveyance systems impacted by subsidence, and an additional $150 to restore existing levees in a delta. So this would not go to any new levies or new conveyance projects. And again, the funding for this is not really clear, but this is something that is being viewed as a way to appease Southern California for the lack of Delta conveyance project movement. And SB 1350 would allow for hydrogen combustion to be eligible for, would be RPS eligible, Renewable Portfolio Standard eligible. As of now, it's not really clear that it is or isn't. So this would clarify that. And just an agenda for how the state legislature will carry on for the rest of the year. May 1st is the last day for policy committees to hear any fiscal bills. May 29th is the last day for each house to pass bills introduced in that house. June 15th, all budget bills must be passed by midnight. July 2nd, summer recess, and legislature returns on August 3rd from summer recess. And other upcoming events that we are planning, next Thursday we are hosting a delegation from the California Municipal Utilities Association, and we'll be taking them around to Grayson, Shoal Canyon. We're trying to get them to the LA Glendale water treatment plant, but it's becoming a little difficult, so we might just take them to the Glendale operable unit, which is adjacent to Grayson. It's a water treatment plant. And then we have our SCAPA policy tour in July, where we take staff from Sacramento and bring them across SCAPA service territory, so Southern California Public Power Authority service territory, and show them around town, essentially, and then end the tour at the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead. And towards the end of the year, we're planning a tour with the Metropolitan Water District. A few of you joined us last year. We're into the Colorado River Basin. So stay tuned for that. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Hachadur. Appreciate it. Before we go to any comments on this item, we received a public comment item for the previous item for the EV charging. So if you can hold on for a second, we can address that comment or hear that comment first, then we can move back to this item.
Sure. Herbert Molano, you have 5 minutes. You're on air. Hello?
All right, we can come back to Mr. Milano later after one more time, after we cover the comments for this item. Thank you again. Any comments, questions on this item? Go ahead.
You mentioned small modular reactors. Are we taking any position on small modular reactors? Yes. What is our position?
Yes and yes. I'm all for nuclear reactors if we can.
In favor of nuclear reactors?
Yes. It's a zero carbon and.
Who makes that decision? Who makes that decision in our city?
What decision are you asking for?
Whether we support small modular reactors or not.
Well, I guess it's open to anyone's opinion.
What do you say?
I guess it's open to anyone's opinion, but as the head of the utility, I'm taking the position that any work done that will get us a zero carbon fuel source that is both firm and dispatchable in some form, that will meet our needs.
I guess I would take gross exception to that.
Sure.
And that it's a very serious policy decision that I don't think staff makes unilaterally without considerable discussion. There's a lot of obviously there's been a lot of controversy about nuclear for many, many years. We certainly aren't going to go into it right now, but I think that it warrants a very serious discussion at a policy level. All right, I'll let that be.
Well,
but I don't think it's your decision to make on behalf of the city.
Sure, I appreciate that input.
I don't think so at all. Data centers. Did you say that bill was suggesting that if someone locates a data center anywhere in California, that all other utilities are going to be collecting a surcharge to
Yes.
to do something to raise money to help low-income people offset their power bills?
Yes, so it would take a look into their electricity and natural gas usage, not water, interestingly enough.
I mean, there's obviously different models that are being discussed around the country for how to deal with data centers. And usually, what I've seen in other utility territories in other states is usually if a data center is going into a specific service territory, that data center often has to pay to absorb the marginal costs that are borne in that service territory. So this is sort of an unusual. I take it the intent is to support bringing more data centers into the state?
The intent is to protect individual customers, residential customers, smaller commercial customers in cities who may be impacted by a project that would take away, let's say, 1/5 of the energy being produced in said city or utility. So their goal is to ensure that there's enough to go around. And if they're going to come and take a huge chunk of it, they should be responsible to help provide for those who they're taking it from. Southern California Public Power Authority has not been publicly opposing, but we are looking to see how this can be avoided because we think it might not be the most beneficial way of handling data centers.
I agree with you. I mean, it certainly seems to me that the data center, the purveyors of the data center, should be paying for the marginal cost that is a burden imposed on the rest of the ratepayers, as opposed to coming up with some scheme to spread that cost around.
I think there's a big question around data centers related to even if a data center is constructed, let's say somebody constructs a data center somewhere 50 miles away from Glendale. That may still impact Glendale ratepayers because that data center consumes the power in the market from the CAISO system or LADWP system. It's that resource is not indefinite.
And there have been, and you're aware that there have been models where the data center, a new data center comes in, and they have to procure enough renewable power to power themselves so that it doesn't create the burden that you're talking about.
The challenge is all utilities are basically we're in a race together. Everybody is trying to procure renewable resources, and there's not many available. So they're going to be in the same boat as we are.
The issue is you can't track all the additional costs it creates down the entire stream. The most direct thing is what you build right there in terms of delivering service. That is clear, and the commercial customer, just like any other commercial customer, they would pay for that infrastructure. But as it trickles down into the system, everything from the supply of the energy to the other sorts of impacts, that's a little bit more difficult to say, well, because of you, this is creating this cost, so therefore you have to pay that too. So I think there's lots of debate around how this is paid for. There's federal legislation now that is proposing a moratorium on data centers until we can figure out these sorts of ratepayer impacts.
And there have been other discussions that would include they not only pay for transmission, but also generation if they're going to greatly impact the utility. So lots of conversations, but nothing's
Lots
definite.
of conversations around data centers. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to public comment on item 5D again. Let's see if he's available.
No, the call dropped.
All right, okay. Thank you. Let's go to our last item.
Item 6, agenda forecast.
I see we don't have any meetings scheduled for July and September. I only have one comment on the future agenda, just one thing to be included. I'm not sure where we can include it, but last meeting I mentioned a presentation about our 4 to 12 kV conversions as it relates to our substation upgrades and all that. So it'll be good to have a presentation on that to show us what's the strategy, where we are, and where we're going. Other than that, I don't have any comments on items listed here. Any comments from my colleagues?
The only thing I would add is for the summer readiness presentation next month, if we can give some attention to the climate modeling around the El Nino and make sure we're working with the latest predictions on what El Nino impacts may or may not be this year, and that we include some sensitivity for that. I understand it could lead to a very hot summer. So,
Right, I believe right now we are anticipating a very hot summer.
As we saw last month.
I wanted to also flag, kind of builds on what you just said, which is there's also clear indications about water supply challenges because of the lack of snowpack. So I don't know if you guys on the water side have any sort of perspective already in terms of what that may mean from a conservation perspective or things like that that we're going to be going out to the public. So not for today, but maybe in one of these meetings, we could, upcoming meetings, we can look at that, what that situation looks like.
is that something we could include in the summer readiness report covering both the electric and water impacts?
Let me take a look at that. I primarily is obviously going to be focused on electric. I just need to check with Mr. Obogolu, see if he actually has some time to put something extra together. Consideration of the impact of the lack of snowpack and water conservation.
And whether or not we can make that part of the summer readiness agenda item at the next meeting.
We'll add that in.
I think if you can just share the latest from Metropolitan, that's probably a pretty good indicator.
Yep.
All right, any other comments?
One other thing, again, it wasn't in the reliability of the report today, but we had talked about this at the last meeting in terms of where do we have the worst performing circuits. I don't know if that's part of, maybe so, I don't want to pack everything into some readiness, but to hear kind of how we're looking at those, but temperatures could cause worst performing circuits to perform even worse.
True.
Or maybe we could take just a quick look at that, where we have vulnerabilities.
We'll take a look at that also.
All right, thanks, everyone. I think we're on our last item. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to offer a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Armenian.
Yep.
No objections?
Good job.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.